So Tom, how have you and the family been?
Been really good, thanks, John. Yeah, we're cracking on at the moment. The kids have just started school or preschool, so yeah, it's been really good. It's a bit
Yeah.
cliche, but they're definitely growing up a bit too quick, even for me.
Yeah, do you know what, mate? Everyone says it, and when you like, maybe people can semi-relate when it's nieces and nephews, maybe. Like in my view, they do like it's as if they like live in a grow bag for 18 years, isn't it?
Oh, definitely, yeah, yeah. I mean, my littlest just been having some like growth pains recently, so she's been shooting up. I think she went up about an inch yesterday, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, mate. So we'll go right back to the start, Tom, if that's all right. So where was home for you and who lived at home with you?
No worries. Also, I was brought up in Widnes and have stayed here all my life. At home, I had my mum and dad. And then I had my two sisters, Alice and Emma, and my brother Sean. So yeah, quite a large family by today's standards.
It is, mate. Well, is it though, innit? It's like probably at least no one was ever on their own, I suppose. It's like a nice thing, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. No, it was really nice to have them around, and we always done loads together. So my uh my mum was one of eight at the time, so there was always a family party going on. There was always something kicking on. So quite a big family in that regard, which was yeah good. Good getting brought up in. Really enjoyed it. Childhood was
Stuff
good.
me so competitiveness in you then. Where does that come from, Tom?
Probably fighting with my brothers and sisters, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. So did you do
Yeah,
that then, mate? Yeah, because you all get on really well, don't you? For
yeah,
people that don't know you, is really close.
yeah, we've always really got on the lot of us. When I say fighting, it's just play fighting, and I don't know, arguing over what to watch after school on the TV. And we only had one TV in the house, so it was yeah, whoever could get to that first and hide the remote would be the winner. It was usually between yeah me and Alice, and a fight
Yeah.
not to watch Sound of Music for the 17th time that week. So that was that was the usual fighting. Um, but yeah, no competitiveness. I think's always been there. It's always been in the family, just being brought up with sport around us and watching it on TV. What speaking to my dad about games and things. It was always there for just that need to keep pushing and try to just do your best. It didn't really matter about winning, but yeah, give your best.
Yeah. And school-wise, mate, where did you go from like nursery school? Where was your nursery?
So I was at Birchfield Nursery.
Oh, well,
Uh,
I was as well. We're probably still on that tea. You remember that tea
we've
towel
definitely got
thing?
the detail. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen your
Old
face on it.
school,
To be
that.
fair, you're
Yeah. Probably this big,
it
like it is
literally
now.
is. It looks like you've drawn it around the Coke can. I'll have to dig that out. Yeah, so we started there and then went over to St. Bede's. Um,
Right.
so yeah, was at St. Bede's then obviously all the way through and yeah, that's where I started. That school was good, really enjoyed it there, engaging. And I think that's probably where my first contact with rugby was.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think we started playing rugby around, well, for me, it was year five or year six, can't quite remember. So I was doing about 10 or 11 at the time. And yeah, I can remember really enjoying it. Um, Prior to that, my dad was always big into football. So he coached me all the way through. We used to have a few teams that we played with. And he was really good in that regard. But I think I was probably a bit too clumsy or just a bit heavy in a tackle for what I should have been. Unintentionally, just yeah, getting in the way. And then obviously rugby came in, so I was very happy for that contact and started to crack on.
Right, mate. And did you? I don't know if I don't know if it was a nursery or like a preschool to infants, but did you go to that building that was attached to St. Bede's Club? Remember they had like the metal over the windows?
Yeah, yeah, that was the what's the name of that? Just opposite the school, next to the
Yeah.
it was the St. Bede's Club was on one side and the Guildhall it was in the
Was
Guildhall with
it?
the metal bars, yeah. So
Yeah,
and Nan
yeah.
used to run like a tea club in there and a bingo and some other bits.
Oh,
So
so you've been in there?
oh yeah, yeah, we used to go in there
Oh, yeah.
regularly. Yeah, yeah. I
Oh,
think
like
I
you
got the
just
same
killed the
glasses.
area around it. Because it was mad, wasn't it? Like sports day, our pen shootout was on that little bit of grass where there's like the mini cemetery is, weren't it? And
Yeah, you never knew it was there either. It was tiny.
no,
Yeah,
not
the
really.
corner.
Yeah. So club wise then, mate, if you started rugby at like 10, 9 or 10, where was it? And then how did you get took there?
So this was, I think, before club. This was just at St Bede's, to be honest. So I think the school teachers just like introduced us to it as part of as part of what was going on. So I didn't go into club rugby till probably year seven.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, jumped up into high school, and then yeah, had my first games there, started playing, and then obviously I went down to the Wids. Paul Newell came and watched just a game of all of the year sevens playing, and then yeah, asked a lot of us to come down. So I was part of that initial pack. To be fair, getting the team or just continuing to fill out the team, to be honest, and pushing it. So that's where if Paul never came down, maybe everything would have been different. So I've got to own something.
We can blame him if you want, rather than own. Right, mate. So I'll rewind a little bit there. So for people that aren't from Widnes, mate, I don't know if their junior schools were the same. We went the same junior school. You're a friend of mine, so we had two different classes for our year group, mate, didn't we? We weren't in the same class actually.
No, so
So
as much as I knew of you, I never really knew
yeah,
you, and similar for
no, no, yeah,
similar nursery.
yeah.
But yeah, no, they were big schools, and yeah, we crossed paths a few times, and yeah, moved on there, but got to know each
First
other
person to
at
ever
that
tackle
time.
me at St Bede's. He damaged me, and yeah, people realised I wasn't just a fat kid anymore. He could be tackled.
Well, I guess at that stage, you've probably been in town team for a bit as well, and cracking on
Yeah,
there, or started that journey. And I didn't have a clue about rugby, so I think it was Mr. Hurst at the time. Just this is the
yeah,
this
Mr.
is how you
Hurst.
tackle, this is how you move, and I thought I'll just get in the way more so than tackle, and seemed to work.
So, are you someone that's quite receptive to technique stuff, Tom? Can you just be shown it minimal times and can sort of grasp it? Because you've not played club rugby at all at this point.
No, no, I think that was probably going back to the clumsy side of football and just sort of being
Right.
able to get in the way and yeah, probably pushing on that side of the technique of um physically I could probably yeah move into those positions and I didn't understand about getting myself hurt or being in the wrong position, so I just went with it. Um
Right.
Whereas yeah, I guess if I don't know, if you asked me to run a move on the training ground, I'd probably knacker it up 5 times in a row, but maybe the sixth time I'd get it.
But if you're asked to drill someone, it's pretty in your comfort zone, that stuff, mate,
That
innit?
that bit
Only
wasn't too
because
bad.
for people that know you, if 100 people that might watch or listen to this ask people that know you, the two things you'll be known for is your tackle techniques through the roof and your ball stealing, which we'll go on to soon. So, like for you to never have played club rugby till early teens or just before early teens, but to still manage to keep all small techniques and cogs neat, for the overall end goal to come out as well as it does. It's something you can't really brush past, mate, because you've not really been taught. I don't think we were necessarily taught at St Bede's, to be fair to you. You found something that works for you and you've stuck with it.
Yeah, and I think that's probably more so it. I think maybe naturally it was quite good to start off with, and then yeah, the likes of my uncles and other members of my family were showing me what to do, and there was a few things that stuck in my head about um, just trying to make an impact on the game, and you can have 5 tackles or one big tackle, it equals to the same. So I was always quite happy to try and go for that big hit straight away and sort of, I don't know, impose yourself on a game a little bit rather than just sort of going with it. I know depending on what comes up and the positions that you're in, but trying to get that opportunity to set yourself up for a decent hit, that's what I was always trying to push for. So yeah, I think some good guidance there on the coaching side and people helping me, yeah, really push me in the right direction there to get me going.
Did you enjoy like the school rugby at the Beats, mate? Did you enjoy rugby league as a kid?
To be honest, we only ever played one game at school, I think, or two. I can remember playing, who was it? We played Sims Cross on the ICI rec when that was still
Yeah.
about. Um,
Oh, they beat
and
us as well. I don't. You won't remember that, will you?
well, I can remember coming off about 5 minutes to go before half time, and I got tackled. My nose had just popped everywhere. So it was like the first time like seeing my own blood everywhere. And I was like, I remember coming off and I was like crying to my dad. I was like, my nose is everywhere, it's killing. But yeah, I
Just
remember him
not
just
like
being
this.
not at that point.
Yeah.
I remember he
Yeah,
cleaned me
because
off.
so you, what's
And
mad, mate, without knowing it back then, sorry to interrupt, you'd have played with a lot of lads you went into high school with there, wouldn't you? That was a semi-final, that.
yeah, so yeah, well, I think after I bust my nose, obviously my dad helped me clear my nose up, and I went back on for half time. But I can remember him just basically saying like after he cleaned up, he was like, "Does it actually hurt?" And I was like, "No, not really." And at that point, I think I realized, okay, like it's like when you get hit first time, it's like it doesn't hurt as bad as what you think it's gonna hurt. So yeah, felt a lot more comfortable then going on, as daft as that may sound. But yeah, going into high school, I didn't yeah, I didn't realize probably the number of people playing for simmies that I would have played with that then came over. But I didn't really know like I don't know them now looking back, but at the time I wouldn't have been able to put like names to faces of people
Yeah.
after the one game.
Right. So you've had a little taste, mate. What was your transition into high school like? Did many out of your side of our year group go Wade Deacon?
No, so I was the only one who went from Wade Deacon into well from St Bede's into Wade Deacon, um, which was I guess like a bit of a shock to be honest. I thought there was going to be a few other people joining, and it turned out to just be myself. So I was quite out of my comfort zone. Luckily, there was two lads who I used to play football with around my nans, Andrew Finney and Lee Wyman, and yeah, we used to. That was just the starting point, to be honest. So they were the only two people really had spoke
Yeah.
to and known by name. Teachers are really good though. They brought me on well, and I had a few visits to St Bede's just to basically say, you're the only kid coming here, so you're not going to know many people, and yeah, just sort of alleviate concerns. So that was really nice, to be honest.
So why Wade Deacon, Tom? Do you know why your mum and dad sent you there?
Yeah, so I think like at the time the school rate, well, they still are today. The school ratings were really good. It was like one of the top schools in the Northwest type thing. So I was just quite happy to go anywhere, to be honest, and I didn't really know where everyone else was going to, although you speak to people, but I was just quite happy to go with the flow. And my dad was he'd seen the results, what was coming out, and he was like, this will be really good for him to go to, it'll push him on well. So yeah, I was just quite happy to go with the flow, to be honest. I'm fairly chilled in that regard. I didn't know what the difference was between all the schools and what was going on. So yeah, just I guess I learned as I went forwards, but it turned out to be really good, and yeah, it was fine in the end. Just
A
got a
few
bit.
of your class went Fairfield, didn't they? I think that
Yeah,
might Luke and Danny went
yeah,
Fairfield, I think, didn't they?
yeah. There was a few that went Fairfield. The majority went to
Peter and Paul.
P&P,
Yeah.
and then a few went over to like St Joseph's and yeah, in Warrington. Um,
Okay.
so it was a bit sporadic for people moving around then.
Yeah. So what are you like in a new environment as a kid, Tom?
Up until that point, I'd never really been in a new environment. I was always with either, family, friends, etc. So I was never put out of my comfort zone in that regard. But I think it was a good experience on the whole. I got to learn a lot about myself, a lot about, yeah, you've got to go and talk to people, you've got to step out. So that really pushed me in those directions, which again, just, big life experience and trying to work out who everyone is and remember, 30 names of your form. Like, well, I only knew 22 of them, so 28 names I had to try and remember alongside the teachers and helpers. So yeah, that was interesting.
Right. So when did school rugby start compared to club rugby? So did you initially start playing for a lad before the Wids come along?
Yeah, so yeah, after playing, I guess at St Bede's, came into Wade Deacon, and then just joined the team there. I knew football was no longer for me, so yeah, make the transition and just started playing rugby for Wade Deacon. I didn't really know a great deal about what the opportunities were with club rugby and what
Yeah.
was going on there. So yeah, just started playing there, really enjoyed it. And then yeah, Paul Newall came down just trying to move people on and see if they wanted to come up for a game, and yeah, really really enjoyed it. And that's
Was it
really
rugby union then, mate?
yeah. It was always a strange one because obviously Widnes is a big rugby league town, but we only ever played rugby union at school. So it was logical for me at the time just to be okay. This is what I'm learning, and this is the game here. In all truth, I didn't really know about the other team, so I didn't know, for well, rugby union or rugby league, to be honest. I didn't really know what existed and what was out there.
Yeah,
Um,
to be fair, you've never been asked, have you, about your position, really?
no, I was just putting,
Yeah,
just yeah,
yeah.
drop me down and I'll go from there and figure it out as I
Oh, you
go.
generally haven't, have you? Like now and then, when like say we stayed in the league for a bit, you get to know certain people and how they played, wouldn't you? But other than that, you were never one that was too asked, really.
No, I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
Paul used to joke, so I wouldn't have a clue. Sometimes we were even playing, it'd just be it'd just be like, all right, I know it's Saturday or Sunday, I'll get my
yeah,
kit
yeah.
on, and yeah, you hit who's ahead of you, you grab the ball and go for it. It's just see how things pan out.
Yeah.
Seems
So, did
wonderful.
you never play in like the inter-school stuff, rugby league wise, mate?
There was a couple of games like here and there, but they only were, just between say
Local
us and
school.
P&P or us and Fairfield. They were separate to the cup games or the league structure or any of that we were part of. So yeah, they were always good games as well. I mean, I never disliked playing either code. I was more than happy doing either. So yeah, that was quite good on that regard.
So, how d- how have you adjusted to both codes at that age? What did you find tricky? What did you find that was really similar?
So I think I've always been strong in like the tackle. So having people run at you in rugby league versus rugby union, where it's a bit more trying to run around you, or there's a bit more space on the field. I really enjoyed that aspect because trying to line someone up was much easier when they're just running straight for you. I found that a huge help. Um, yeah, few little funny moments in training where maybe you've gone down or something and went to present the ball rather than going up and playing it, but luckily I never done that in a
Yeah,
game. Um, but yeah, separate to that, I mean, obviously the skills that were involved in trying to recycle the ball in rugby union, that was just made redundant straight away. Um, but I always had an eye for trying to ball steal. So even in rugby league, if someone's running with the ball carrying arm straight in you, the opportunity was always there, and probably target going for the ball over going for the man. And I
yeah,
used
yeah.
to win it a fair bit of the time, so that was always, yeah, it was always good. I always thought in rugby league you're a bit more supportive with players around you, so you could take that extra, 10-20% risk going for something, knowing you got an inside man or an outside man who'll complete the tackle for you. So I found that really reassuring, to be honest, and found the two games entirely different for how I approached it, and yeah, how I could get the most out of the game, to be honest. But really
So, do
enjoyed
you know
it.
when that competition at the tackles took away from you at that age? Does it help you realign to go and attack something else? How did you fathom? Because you're doing dead intricate movements playing rugby union. You tackle like basically doing burpees every other tackle, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Trying to just
And
fight for the
like
ball and
constantly competing. Where the shuttle run in rugby league probably eliminates your mindset from the competition. I imagine.
yeah, I mean, I hated running backwards. That's a that's a big
Yeah,
one for starters. So yeah, as much as at the time I was really fit, I could get up and down the pitch. I could, do those shuttle runs repeatedly. Yeah, certainly didn't enjoy the aspect of just running. Um, but yeah, given the opportunity, then without those intricacies of trying to fight for the ball, I think you had a lot more opportunity just to commit to the tackle and commit to, you're not trying to really look for the ball 90% of the time. You're just looking at trying to get low, trying to, get underneath the player and driving backwards. And I think that opened up different opportunities, which then allowed me to take that back into my rugby union game and probably put in bigger hits because of it. So I was just trying to use the two to complement one another, which I think really helped in the long run.
So when you went back to the Wids then, mate, after Paul's got you down there, What was the difference between playing for the school and playing for your club?
Um, so I think both are structured really well. We in both at school and at the Wids, we had, obviously Paul Newell with his rugby brain looking at what's going on and could give out a lot of details. And similar at school, we had Mr. Bramwell who, he could read the game really well. Um,
He played for the Wids a couple of times. I think we
yeah,
played at
yeah,
Wilmslow with him or somewhere like that.
he had a
Or
few
I
good
was on the
stories
bench
while
with
we
him
were there.
somewhere. Yeah, yeah.
I never got to play myself, yeah, when he was
All
there,
right, okay.
but that would have been definitely interesting.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, it was really good. I mean, the tactics at school were usually, if we were, well, depending on where we were, it would just be try and give the ball to Rob Holbrook, who was
right.
well, still is one of my best mates, but he
Yeah.
was, nearly 6 foot when he was in year six at school. He was head and shoulders above everyone else. He was
He was a
built
man
well.
child, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, he was huge.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think he had a beard by the time he was. Well, I think he was in year six when he
yeah.
had a beard.
You
Um,
know, the coffee connoisseur he's known as now, isn't he?
he does love the yeah, the odd
The
flat white.
Clavo and a coffee.
Yeah, he's kicking on with them at the moment, getting around Vietnam. But yeah, the tactics
So you
literally were
so
just
you'd relied on Rob quite a lot. Do you think outside
massively.
of maybe? I'm trying to think. So Jones, he would have been quite a key player for years.
Yeah, I mean, great hands. He could get the ball around. He could, yeah, he was a big lad as well, so he could push on when he needed to. And there was quite a few good players there. But what we'd probably do if the games were getting, sticky in any way, you could literally give it to Rob. And at that point, he was running for Cheshire at the same time, so his like 100-meter sprints were ridiculously quick.
Yeah.
So it'd literally give him the ball. He'd run around the whole team, not even through them. He could go through them if he wanted to, but just
Oh, he
around the
could.
whole
Yeah, yeah,
team and score. And he'd just repeat that 2 or 3 times in a game, and lads weren't getting near him.
yeah. But it doesn't it for you? Like Rob's a top guy, and he'd say that himself, like what we're about to say, but does nothing for you, is that really?
No, and I think in the long run, it done nothing for him as well. I mean, it showcased what he could do at the time, but because he was, so big and imposing versus the lads he was playing with,
Mm.
it was such a big fact that we had to our game. I mean, if you compare it now to how it works in, I think it's Australia or New Zealand, I think like from under 10s to 15s, they base it more on, the size of kids, so the height
Yeah,
and the weight, just to try and balance that out. And I think that would have developed him at a much better rate. I mean, he's still a great player today, but
yeah.
yeah, he had some really good opportunities when he was younger, and obviously things changed for how they worked out with him. But yeah, he was fantastic, and he could have done a lot more than what he was able to do, just due to how I
I'm
guess.
shocked he didn't do that, mate. I'd have been playing against 20-year-olds at 10, getting absolutely bullied.
To be
So
fair,
did
you could truck it in yourself at the time.
yeah. So did Merseyside ever? Did you ever come across Merseyside, Lancashire? Did you go all them sort of training days and that time?
Yeah, so it was a bit awkward for me. So at the time, there was a few mentions of, trying to get down there and see, but I wasn't able to make any of the weekend ones. I tended to play on one day of the week, and then I'd always work on the other day. So yeah, big shout out to the Balteeth Farm Shop who put up with me for
Yeah,
9 years.
you were known for that,
Uh,
way. Yeah, yeah,
so yeah, no, I done a lot for, well, they done a lot for me, yeah, keeping me there. But yeah, just because of that though, I wasn't able to really go to any. So I went to a few over my time when they were, late nights or um yeah, well, just late nights really. If there was anything there, I was able to go. But other than that, I wasn't able to make them.
right.
And I can remember going to a few, and just seeing how there was one at Liverpool Collegiate that we went to and another at LSH. Um, which yeah, you learn a lot and you get to see the lads there who are probably more making up the numbers, which I was one of, versus the lads who were, getting pushed over, and they're really trying to, yeah, get them into the professional game. I can remember, like, even at a young age, the likes of Richie Myler getting taken to one side and, just giving drills, giving more drills, and they were really trying to push him along. And it was more about what we were doing to help progress his game than it was progressing the lads who were there.
Yeah,
But I think mine all stopped when there was a game that we played. I can't remember if it was Lancashire or Merseyside, to be honest, but I played in a game, a night game, at LSH, and I trained the day before it, and had just got new boots. My heels were just entirely gone. They were cut and bleeding off like just blisters, to be honest.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, set of what were they? I think they were Adidas flankers. Great little set of boots, but
yeah,
absolutely killed my foot. And I remember speaking to the coach at the time, and it must have been, probably 10, 20 minutes in, and I was like, I'm gonna have to come off in a minute. Like, these are killing me. Like, they really were. And I think his words were like, well, it's the wrong attitude to have. You just need to crack on. And at that point, I was like, well, maybe this isn't for me then. I was only a kid at the
really,
time, and I just thought, yeah, I don't know, different circumstances, different times, different situations. But
yeah,
yeah, that was enough at that point. I thought I'll just stick to, I'm quite happy with at the club, really enjoying it there, and yeah, press on from that point onwards.
yeah. And as you got older, how did the school and the Wids compare then when you're starting to master your craft? Because I think it's easy, again, for people that know you, mate. I think if you were fit, you probably will say you weren't, but you were a guaranteed pick at seven. Because I think you're the only out and out seven I've ever seen at the club.
So I think definitely at the Wids, I was really fortunate there to be in that position. When I was at school or even going on to college and stuff, I was more in and out of the team. Moving. I tended to play. I tended to play. Yeah, probably second row or centre, or prop, depending on who was there. But that would come in and out. When they played rugby union though at school, I don't think I was. Yeah, I probably didn't have the skill set of what I gained going forwards or what I gained later on. So I was probably looked over at that point and yeah, probably developed a bit later to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. So as you're going through school, mate, what was you looking to do leaving school?
So to be honest, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. All my friends were off to college. So that's what I just sort of jumped on the bandwagon with and continued. Um, I was always working separately of like weekends and odd jobs here and there for what we could do. But
Yeah.
yeah, from I guess like a career or job thing. It was just see what the next one is, and the next part was just going to college.
Right. Where'd you go, mate?
So I ended up going to Carmel in St Helens, just next to West Park Rugby Club.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think it was more so just the next step, really, next thing to do in life, and just on the bandwagon. So ended up going there, took quite a few subjects, but continued with rugby, and then started playing rugby league there. They only had a rugby league team,
Right.
so that was more just moving in and playing with the lads, which was really good laugh.
Yeah. So going back to the farm shop, mate, how long was you there? Was you there like from the start of high school?
Yeah, so yeah,
Is it
basically,
a
yeah.
family link there, sorry, or
No, so to be perfectly honest, I had quite a few jobs. So my uncle used so prior to the farm shop, my uncle ran a jacket potato wagon over in um over in Runcorn. So I used to help him, the weekend. We'd go over there. And prior to that, I was at Webb's, the building yard, just doing work there for them over weekend. I had my uncle, a different uncle there as well. But coming to the farm shop, my mum had just shopped there for years, to be honest. And I guess, my mum was probably keen to get me out of the house and get me doing something at that point.
right,
So yeah, managed to get a job with them. And yeah, they were really good to me, to be honest. They were really flexible, really nice family who ran it. Um, and yeah, it worked out really well. I was quite happy for it all.
well, you showed a bit of loyalty back, mate. You were up there till I think you were even doing it at Colts and open age for a while,
Yeah,
weren't you?
yeah, I was still
Yeah,
doing it when I went to uni. So I think that's what got
yeah,
me through uni, to be honest, just a bit of pocket money and a
yeah,
bit of spends.
yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's just always what I looked at for a little earner, and then obviously some drinks money, some food money, and away you go.
No, I
So
appreciate they were good with you, but you were definitely good for them as well, mate. It's a two-way thing.
yeah, no, it was. Yeah, I'll see their opinion on that for the amount of work that I've done. But
Like, don't you rocked up though, didn't you? And we'll
yeah,
touch on
yeah,
them later, but some of the beverages that we used to drink on a Saturday, mate, and you'd still go on a Sunday, wouldn't you? And like you missed
yeah, it wouldn't have
games
been
that
too
you'd
fresh,
have been
but
really key in for a Saturday to go
yeah,
work, didn't you? There was a lot of times you couldn't play.
yeah. So I think that's what probably held me. We'll probably come on to it later, but yeah, that's probably what held me back from moving into open age. I
Yeah.
was always going to be working at least, one day there and then playing the other day, whichever way it fell from a Saturday or a Sunday. Um, so yeah, obviously at Colts you play, well, I worked on a Saturday, played on the Sunday, and then that flipped over for open age. So obviously I had to take that to the shop and just see, what's wait for an opening essentially to move over.
So how was rugby league at college, mate? How did you juggle college work and rugby?
So rugby was always on like a Wednesday in the later half, which was, great being midweek. It'd give you time to recover from the weekend, and then yeah, we'd travel.
And you could.
Yeah,
Not a
yeah,
chance now,
yeah.
mate, is there? There's no bounce back ability now.
Oh, that's gone altogether. Yeah, so we travelled about and do you know what we had? Yeah, we had Gal Thomas coaching us. There was a lot of really good players there. Um, yeah, just loads of lads who were just. It was just a good laugh, decent standard. It was nothing, we weren't going to be world beaters. We held our own. We had some good players who were playing. Um, but yeah, it was more just about just a blowout, to be honest. I really enjoyed playing, always did. And the more I could play, the better. So yeah, used to crack on quite a bit in that regard. I think there was, yeah, met some key people there who, went on to speak to further. So the likes of, Rob, Will, Stringer. There was like Chris Viles, who was class at the time at Widnes. Um, and then, yeah, a few lads who we met along the way. Maybe the likes of, yeah, Benji and Eddie Ralph. There was, yeah, just a number of lads, to be honest. Kenny Haywood that we just bumped into. And then you later see them in different areas of rugby and bump into the people repeatedly, which is always nice.
Yes, mate. So, do you think rugby league enhanced your passing game?
I'd probably, yeah, especially more the drills in between. So I never really needed to pass too much at rugby union. So that was a bit of a non-starter. But obviously, yeah, rugby league, more the fast shipment left and right and just trying to play off the cuff when required. I think that really helped, and it was a lot more ball in hand than what I was used to at rugby union. I was more busy with my head in a ruck or a maul. So yeah, but sort of playing outfield and just offensively was, yeah, a bit different. So yeah, I
What
think
handed are you, Tom?
right-handed.
It's mad that left to right, your best pass, isn't it? That's not
Yeah,
even digging it out. You left to right, as like I said to you on the phone before, like is immaculate, and it's not
well,
even like you're strong-handed, is it?
no, well, I'm actually like they call it ambidextrous, so I can use
Yeah,
both hands and feet pretty well, which is
right.
a bit weird, but I've always, for writing it, I've always been right-handed. I'm
Yeah.
left-footed, so if you kick a ball at me, I'll take it with my left, which, yeah,
No offense,
a
your
bit
feet
weird.
aren't as good as your hands.
I'm surprised anyone's seen the feet with that bad. Try and keep that kicking away.
But no, like, like even being ambidextrous, you'd think your dominant hand will probably be your right if you're right with it as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, it's
So yeah, so only when you hit open age, which we'll go more into later, was you not even giving you because you were breaking lines often and supporting play
yeah,
like a bit of a Justin Tipuric, wasn't you really? Before we knew what Justin Tipuric is and
yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah. Well, I wouldn't have had the clue back then, to be fair, but
Oh
yeah, just
yeah,
just playing off the cuff, to be honest, a bit more ball in hand and just going forwards. It was that was fun in itself. Really enjoyed, trying to get through, trying to break a line, or just supporting, to be honest, waiting for similar to happen, and then if you did break, I was usually looking out for wingers or people coming through with a bit more speed, and then you got the opportunity to offload. Um, with
you were quick though, mate. You were quick, weren't you?
I was back then, yeah,
Yeah. No, you
yeah,
was, weren't you?
that's
So
what
it's
I'm
like if you'd have backed yourself, probably sometimes, even though the pass is the right option. Not
Yeah,
saying. You'd have probably beat most fullbacks as well.
Yeah, I think I probably trusted, although I could probably, yeah, gone for a step or took them on 1-on-1. I think I was always just in the numbers game. If it's a 2-on-1, draw the
Yeah,
man and pass. And yeah, I think Newey drilled that into me early doors for,
yeah.
yeah, getting bollocks for missing a few or doing it wrong. And then it's, yeah, this is what's on. Go for this. You're done. It's a try. Yeah, just get the numbers in, get the conversions.
So what do you remember about Colts, mate? So for viewers and listeners that might not know, we'll start at junior Colts, which is under 17s, mate, isn't it? And then senior Colts, it was under 19s. There was no 18s for us, was there? So what do you remember about junior Colts, and is it something you enjoyed?
Oh, loved every minute, to be honest, both on the pitch and off the pitch. It was life, to be honest, back then. We had we had college on the go, but at the same time it was, yeah, your weekend was rugby. Um if it started on a Friday with training, and then on a Sunday with play. And yeah, the squad was for the junior Colts. We had a load of great lads playing for us, to be honest. It was a good mix. We had quite a few lads coming in from Liverpool and different places who really pushed the squad out. And we competed really strong. We pushed on. We had some great away days. Away days. Yeah, found ourselves in like a few circles after the game, having a few drinks, and just yeah, complete good laugh. Obviously, at that point, it's gone from being in the kids' game where you can't drink or anything to, yeah, introducing yourselves to kebab and beer and away you go. And yeah, it was a game changer, to be honest. Really, really good fun. I had a great laugh with the lads. Um, and yeah, sure, there's some other parts of that, but yeah, it was really, really good start to finish.
Yeah. So when them big games come, because we had a few big games, but we made the Lancashire Cup final that year and stuff. What were you like the day of a big game, and did anything change for you? How did you feel before a big game? Because you're quite relaxed bloke, mate, aren't you?
Yeah, I think the nerves were probably there on a big game. Not so much from the game itself, but just from the build up of everything around it. So like the whole, from early doors, you'd have everyone was in a suit, everyone was ready to go. It was all that, like, you got to be prepped 2 or 3 days before it. You've got to have this in the house, got to have a tie. It was more that side that made me nervous than the actual game itself. The second the game kicked off, I was perfectly fine. It was just back to doing what you do every week. But yeah, up until that point, I think it was the pressure started building probably from getting the suit on. I found that a bit fun, but at the same time, it was not what I was used to. Never really
Yeah,
wore suits prior to that. And then obviously, yeah, for like the Lancashire Cup game with a big speech off Jed, the how much this means to the club, your name's on the wall, which I guess for lads who aren't familiar with the Wids, there's a wall in the Wids of just basically all of the teams who've won a cup or a major trophy, and have got some good accolades. So yeah, it was a huge speech on how much it means. How you'll come back here in 40 years, you'll see the same lads. That's sort of that was more so the pressure side of, okay, this means more. But yeah, second that game kicked off, I was just back to doing what we do.
Wilcox ribboned it all for us.
I wasn't
So
gonna
we
mention.
look, yeah. So we lose that game, mate, don't we? Was there ever anything in your mind that you wouldn't have played in your Colts? Because obviously
No,
college will be coming to an end and stuff, won't it? And your next chapter of your life's about to begin. And
yeah, so I think, yeah, so we went into senior Colts when I was still in uni. Sorry, still in college. And yeah, that was no, there was never any hesitation to not move up. I think I was just following the trend of what was going on, what the next step is. I really enjoyed rugby. I enjoyed playing with the Wids. I enjoyed all the lads. Camaraderie was great. The games were really good. So no, there was never any hesitation really for jumping up into senior rugby or into the senior Colts at least. Um, and again, I think we excelled there. There was a bit of a step up in terms of the age, moving from the 19s, but we just continued doing what we were doing the year before. We kept on pressing. A bit of weight maybe came into it, and you know, Paul, who was coaching at the time, he's not, the biggest of guys, but he was certainly keen to push and emphasize, okay, you need to get yourselves down the gym now, you need to start doing this. At the time that was all taken with a pinch of salt and you just crack on. My fitness was really good. We were playing, in the week and then for college and then playing at the weekend. So yeah, that was really starting to develop and push on. So I really enjoyed both, yeah, Colts and then moving into the senior Colts. That was really good step
The
up.
pints were getting heavier, to be fair, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think at
That
that
was
point it
my
was like
weights, mate, wasn't it? Them cider talking.
bottles of
Yeah.
Tuborg for £1 at the
Yeah.
time, or Holston pills. It was whatever was in that pound draw. We were
Yeah.
hitting.
Right, mate. So you'd have been your name would have got flirted around first team stuff. So this is for later on, this bit now, but you got an honours time, mate, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you'd have probably got yours a lot sooner if you didn't have a job, wouldn't it?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I could never, when I was in senior Colts, I could have had that season maybe I don't know what the opportunities were because they were just dismissed straight away. It was, sorry, I'm working when I was ever approached. So
Yeah,
that was never really pushed on, to be honest. Whether there was opportunities, yeah, would have came a bit sooner. That's,
I think so. Yeah,
yeah, a different
it's
discussion.
irrelevant now, mate. In it, it's what it is. No, it
Yeah,
is what
yeah,
it is.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
think you'd have definitely got an opportunity, and don't think you'd have really been dropped then, mate. If I'm honest. So with you never having it, not missing it, was culture your main source of rugby really in college? Was your fun side?
Yeah, 100%. So we were probably a lot more competitive, or we were a lot more competitive within the Wids playing the Colts. We had some goals. Obviously, we were trying to go for the league. We were trying to go for the Lancashire Cup after being finalists the year before. So we already had a goal in mind, and we were all pushing towards that. And that was really good. I think at college it was a lot more, yeah, just we'll come as we go. If we win or lose, I mean, it matters as much as being competitive, but it wasn't that same drive and push to get the results on the board and think of that long game.
Yeah. So when we had that game where we decided not to booze on a Saturday before big games anymore, mate.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
think that was a big turning point for us? Because for that group of lads, we did enjoy a pint on a Saturday, didn't we?
We did have a few light beverages, yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah, no, at that point it was. I think that was probably one of the big defining moments of okay, like there's something here that we're working with, there's something that we can push for, and if we actually screw our heads on, put in a bit of work, we'll get there. So yeah, I think that was a good decision to be honest. That was made by the lads and by coaching staff. And I think it puts in good stead for the future as well. Obviously, the results came. We managed to
yeah,
win the Lancashire Cup that year. Um, Great game. Everyone was focused. There was a big push. I think that really helped. Yeah, it was sort of a bit of sacrifice before you played, which really focused you then.
yeah. And what do you remember about the final, mate? And did your attitude change much before it because of getting beat the year before, or was it just same as normal again?
Yeah, no, I think my attitude definitely changed. I was really hungry to win. We sort of felt like we got to a point of tasting it the year before, and then obviously it didn't come. It was, yeah, quite a bad beat with the last try being scored in the previous year. There was a few things that maybe didn't go our way that, it was just those 50-50 chances and we lost more than we won. Um, so I think, yeah, that extra focus, extra push. Um, I can remember the game, yeah, sort of just trying to give my best, to be honest. Like, at that point, you've got your whole family coming down to watch. I was like, that just, it adds pressure, but it also makes you think, okay, this is serious. Like, you need to give your best game. You can't give away any penalties. You need to be a bit clever around what you're doing. Um,
Yeah.
so that was
Well, that's
probably,
what people might not realise is at our level, mate, we didn't play with like neutral linesmen, but come Lancashire Cup final day, you did.
yeah,
They were
yeah,
all mic'd up. The balls were like flyaways, weren't they? Like the Wids are really good at supporting their own. So like we probably took 100 people there with us,
yeah,
maybe a few more. Families bring families who bring mates, and everyone's there, all in old school Wids tops, flags.
I
vuvuzelas. It's like they make it a big thing for you, don't they? Like we were very lucky with that.
Yeah, it was a great atmosphere. We had supporters, coaches come in. We had loads of people coming up in the cars. I remember the car park being absolutely rammed. Like no one could get in. The coach could barely get in before, we've even trained and warmed up. And then you're walking around, you're seeing everyone before you play. That's where the atmosphere starts to build then. And, you're getting clapped in and out everywhere. It's like you're not used to that attention. You're used to being in the corner of a little changes, getting sorted, getting out there. It's
Yeah,
cold, it's wet, no one else wants to be there. And
yeah,
then, yeah, you're turning up and it's, coming to summer, weather's getting better. Everyone's out clapping, yeah, pints in hand, having a laugh. All the old lads who you've seen, around the club for years, all coming out to support you. Really good atmosphere, and you want to do them justice. The pressure's on, and what it means if you win. You get your name on the wall, get your photo up there. Yeah, you can really start pressing on after that. So up until
yeah,
that point, yeah, it was just brings it home. You want to just do your best. That's all. That's
yeah.
all you want to do.
And we brushed over it really, but when we were 13, we got battered in a final as well, didn't we? But
At West
Preston
Ham,
brought a lot of Lancashire boys in, didn't they? But it's
yeah,
like, so we first did that twice, and I'd whinged twice.
yeah,
But
yeah,
like, yeah, it does make you think, don't it? Like, surely I've earned one now.
yeah, definitely. And I can remember,
I think we could have played anyone that day, mate. I think we'd have won that day. It just felt when we warmed up and we went, it felt right, didn't it? No
yeah,
one, I don't think
everything was
anyone would beating
clicking.
us that day.
No balls
Yeah,
down. It was, yeah, everything was smooth. Everyone was focused. You could tell it was different. Like it was, yeah, everyone was ready to go.
yeah. So I don't know about you. Did it feel more of a relief for you at the end rather than because it
When
did for
we,
me?
yeah, when we won, I think it was a mix of just, yeah, unbelievably happy that, we came out with the win. It was, you knew what it meant already. It's already been well drilled into you. Hugely relieved to get that. And then, yeah, just the celebrations after it. But certainly, yeah, a lot of relief to start off with. The game could have gone any way a number of times, and the scoreline was backwards and forwards. So it was yeah, it was nervous and just yeah, scary, and we managed to pull through.
We did. So you hit one of them famous passes, mate. So do you know when you're in that situation, do you think much about it, Tom? Because when I say
Not
you've hit one of them passes, it was Sean, they've all probably know the difference. He's probably measured it or whatever, but it's not far off a 20, 25 yard pass. And it's
yeah,
right on the money. Semple's not up to break stride. And it's probably the score that actually puts us out of touch, I think.
yeah. So that was yeah. So obviously, I got the ball. We'd gone through the line, and I think it was a 2-on-1 with me and Semple and the fullback, and obviously, yeah, he was sticking to his wing, which he should do, and yeah, managed to get it out to him, which and then he finished in the corner, which was fantastic. I think at that point, that's where I sort of felt like, okay, this is achievable. Like it felt like it was, as you said, that probably one step too far for them to come back into it. And yeah, that's probably where I started thinking, okay, we can do this. Up until that point, it was a bit backwards and forwards, and I didn't know which way it was going to go. But that felt like, okay, we've got a good foothold now. We just need to stick this out.
Yeah. And did you realise at the end of the game, which I probably didn't until we'd had a drink and that, but I think maybe you look round and it's like it's potentially the last time we'll play together, considering we've come right through together.
Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of lads there that I thought you don't really think about it at the time because I was just
Yeah,
too busy celebrating and happy. But certainly
yeah,
in the days to follow, it's like, okay, that's like the end of an era now. It's the end of, although it's moved into seniors, it's all your junior friends, all your colts, lads who you've built up relations with. Yeah, it's all going to change. You don't know if you're going to be first, seconds, thirds. People are going to quit. Like it's yeah,
yeah.
new.
And did you know where you were going in your own life at that point? Was uni decided and the channel you were going to go down with that?
Yeah, so I think at that point I went over so I was going to go to uni, and again it was probably more just seeing what everyone else was doing around me, sort of on that conveyor belt. A lot of my friends were off to uni who I'd been in college with, so I was looking at courses, what I wanted to do. I ended up going over to John Moore's in Liverpool doing computer forensics over there. And yeah, it was, I don't know, it was just the next rung on the ladder, to be perfectly honest. And that's when then, yeah, I managed to flip my day over with the farm shop where I was working and then be able to move over to open age. But I didn't have a clue about open age, because I was always working, I'd never seen the play. I didn't know the size of the lads. I was like, okay, I'm just going to be hitting men. So I was probably more fearful of, okay, what does this mean? What does it look like? How hard's the collision? And I was just preparing myself for a battering, to be perfectly honest.
Okay, that's fair enough, mate. And how was it then when did you play a second team or was you straight in the first team?
So we had my first game it was like a trials game before it. So it was a friendly with LSH. Um, and I can remember like dumping two lads in the game and being like made up. I was like, the no one, like, I think because we've worked so much in Colts, our fitness was really good, strength was really good. Um, and yeah, you were playing against men, but I was like, it was probably, I wouldn't say a step down, but at least on par to where it was previously. The step up that I was anticipating was, yeah, nowhere near there. The only big difference I'd say is probably you've got a lot of old heads who know how to work the game, they know the intricacies of the game, they know all the little tips and tricks and yeah, little things that completely change an outcome of a game. And that was, yeah, something that I learned then down the line, but not something I had a clue about starting off. But then after that, yeah, I was into the first team and stayed there for a number of years.
You did, mate, you did. So I was freshers. So what was the first taste of uni like and did you think that it wasn't for you, that it was for you, or did it take time for you to realise whether it was really what you wanted?
Yeah, so I lived out in Liverpool at the time. We got a flat. Well, we were in halls there. I was with Rob Holbrook. He was in the same place as me, and another lad, Nathan Hughes from Widnes, with two other people. And yeah, to be honest, it was absolutely great. It was just essentially no parents around, and you could come and go as you pleased. So yeah, if you wanted to go out on a Tuesday night, you could go out on a Tuesday night. No one's there to stop you. Um, but yeah, we had a great time. Freshers was amazing. Got to go and like meet the rugby people, see what all the sports teams are about. You're meeting loads of new people constantly between your own course and sport that you play and all what's going on there. Um, just loads going on. There was always something. So whether you were, skint on a Wednesday or you were looking for something to do bigger on a Friday or go somewhere in particular, they had nights out every day of the week type thing. So you could do that alongside you learning and working and seeing what's going on in the world. So it was really
Yeah.
interesting.
Was there any sports that caught your eye, Tom? Is it like they have like the pop-up stalls, or they try and get you to sign up for stuff and
Yeah, so just outside where the student union was, there was basically every sport line down it that they had. I was really intrigued with likes like lacrosse and other physical sports, to be honest. There was a few for hockey, which when I played at school, I was quite good, but never took it any further than school. Um, so I was intrigued by a few, but I was walking around at the same time with me and Rob, and yeah, we came to the Rugby League stall and just ended up chatting there, and then you were signed up before you knew about it, and that was it really.
yeah.
All sorted.
So how was uni rugby league compared to college rugby league, mate?
Entirely different, to be honest, where college was, although it was set up really well and had a really good structure, there wasn't that, drive and push like what we seen at uni. When I moved into uni, you got exposure to, the lads who are on sports scholarships and really kicking on, looking to go into the professional world or looking to, progress further. So that was really good to see. And it was, yeah, an eye opener to be honest, where I was playing around, in the gym, maybe lifting a few weights here and doing a few things there. I didn't have a clue about the science behind it and how it works. So yeah, off the back of that, there was a guy who played rugby really good called Andy White. He had like a strength and conditioning program. He was doing his PhD, I think, at the time. So we joined him on that, and it was yeah really intense, looking for progressing in strength and pushing yourselves forward. a load of the other lads who played, they were also, heavily involved in progressing, your body and pushing into strength and conditioning. So yeah, completely different. It was drills, getting yourself sorted. We had a great laugh at the same time, but it was fundamentally about the rugby, and then obviously having a laugh came second. So it was really good to see just like the two sides and how it all fitted together. Um, I think over my time there, I was probably the fittest I'll ever be. I was still playing on a Wednesday, which was really competitive, really fast games, and then similar for the Wids, obviously on a Saturday playing firsts. So that was intense on that side. There was jumping on the train to come back and train on a Tuesday or a Thursday, and then training on a Monday I think it was Monday with the Rugby League. So yeah, nearly every day you were active doing something and physically really fit.
So a couple of things then, mate. So how was that juggling the course you're doing? Because the course you do is real serious stuff.
Yeah, so I always tried to keep my day work to the day if I could. So, I'd be in uni anyway, say starting at 9, and then depending on what was going on, you'd be in courses then through till 4. So I tried to keep it to that. There was also you might have a lecture, say 9 till 10, but then you might be free till 1 in the afternoon. So you've got like 3 hours or 4 hours of dead time where you could just crack on and really, get your studies in. I'd like to say I was doing it all in those 3 hours, but half the time I'd miss them. And then it'd just get absolutely mental when you've got like a massive essay that's due Monday and everything's off and you're working through the night trying to get it done. It was probably more the
That's the real
latter.
side, mate, and it. That's the honest side. There's no
Yeah,
up with that.
yeah, definitely. It was cracking on to get everything done in the nick of time.
But you didn't miss many sessions, but getting the train in and out must have been a ball ache sometimes, mate. Especially because like through the winter, like most clubs, there's sometimes only 6 or 7 of us. You must have been rocking
Yeah,
up thinking, what am I doing?
there was quite a few of those nights, to be perfectly honest. Not even for that, but it was more like it'd start at 5 o'clock for me, so I'd have to try and cycle from, depending on where I was in Liverpool, so we had like a few houses over the years in there. But you try and cycle to either like Mossley Hill or Edge Hill Station, get the train over, then cycle to the Wids, and then finish training, and then you'd be doing the same in reverse, so cycling back to the station, getting the train, and then cycling back to your house. So most nights I probably wasn't getting in till 9 or 10, depending on what was going on, and then seeing from there. But
It's
but
like
yeah,
hardly eating, not a lot of study time, not a lot of body rest, mind rest. Like you've still got to enjoy yourself. It must have been like a really tricky stage that.
looking back when you say that, it does definitely sound it. But I think at the time it was the only thing I knew, and I enjoyed the rugby. I enjoyed the lifestyle at the time, so I was quite happy putting in those hours. And to be honest, I was young enough to not really need sleep. So if I needed to work through the night to get something in or to push on something, that was perfectly fine. Um, and then I also always came back at the weekend, obviously, to do the work, do the rugby, and then back on a Sunday night for the next week.
Right, and when did traveling become a big part of your life? Because for a while, mate, we all done a bit of traveling together, didn't we? Like the weekends away and stuff.
Yeah, so that probably started maybe senior Colts or junior Colts, with quite a few of us. So at the time, this is where Ryanair flights were. It was £20 to go to, I don't know, Tallinn or somewhere in Estonia. Basically anywhere Eastern Europe, we were just constantly looking on. There was an app called Skyscanner where you could just view flights, and we'd be looking for like, across the month, just look for the cheapest flight going there and back. And none of us really had any money at the time, so we were trying to get like, the cheapest flights out there, cheapest flights back, probably stay in a hostel while we're there, but between all of us. So it worked out really well, but I think that must have cost maybe like £200 with flights, accommodation, drinks, everything. So it was dirt cheap when you're out there. So it worked out really well, to be fair. We got to see a lot of the world, or at least a lot of Europe, for next to nothing. Yeah, Josh was great on finding some cheap flights, so that was
Yeah, he
always
was
really
good for
handy.
it, wasn't he?
Yeah, doing mad things like you fly out on a Tuesday, fly back on a Friday, and just see somewhere different that you'd never seen before.
Yeah. So we have to talk about it, mate. I apologise, but on one of these trips that I didn't come on this one, there was a famous incident, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think I know which one you mean, to be fair. The one with
Yeah.
the break.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
so
how did that situation come about? Because for people that don't know, you are good on the skis on ice skate. Like you know what you're doing, mate, don't you?
yeah,
Yeah.
so I think it was probably just a few too many drinks in the daytime, and I wasn't that bad drink wise, but we decided to jump ice skating in an ice ring in Austria. Wasn't probably the brightest idea looking back, but yeah,
We
we
should
went.
blame Chaz while we're at it,
Oh,
really.
of course, it's all his fault.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to be honest, the idea was we'd skate around. It sounds stupid even looking back. We'd skate around the ring. As we come back, Chaz would pass us a pint of beer as we got off. So I was going a bit too fast, to say the least, and I thought if I just dink the edge, I'll be able to step out, grab the pint. Really cool. But that didn't happen. I dinked the side, yeah,
Nice.
went straight over, ended up breaking my leg. Quite badly, and then yeah, falling over. So there was no pints for me after that, and it was in the back of an ambulance job to A&E, which
Oh,
wasn't
no, yeah,
wasn't
it's
ideal.
horrible, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it was made
They
a bit
missed a
worse.
leg break, didn't they, Tom?
Yeah, so that didn't help either. So I got it X-rayed, but I don't know what had happened. It must have been yeah, maybe not big
Wrong
enough at
leg.
the time. Yeah, wrong leg.
Because you
And
flew on with a broken leg, no
yeah,
cast.
so I hobbled around Austria for another day, trying to see some sights, which was pretty painful, and then flown back. And at the time, they just thought it's just bruised and damaged. It's going to be sore, but you'll be okay. So yeah, just carried on hobbling around until I got back to the UK and thought this isn't right here. Went back for a second scan. They were like, "Yeah, you broke your leg there, mate." I was like, "Oh, all right, okay." So that was eventful. That was yeah. It was like nine
So,
veins in my leg, and yeah, big bar screwing my
yeah,
ankle together in my leg. So not the
it's
best.
mad to think you walk around on that as well, innit? Like,
Yeah, for a day and a half. And Chaz
so
kindly
really, they
said,
reconstructed your leg, didn't they? Basically.
yeah, so yeah, to have a metal bar put in with, and then it all screwed into place. But then that was causing me problems down the line, so I had to have it all removed eventually. So it's just my ankle that's pinned now, but my leg hasn't got any metal in it anymore, so it's not as bad for the
How's that?
I thought.
So how does that still affect you now, that the ankle leg?
My ankle probably does, but my leg's okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay.
So
I just
like in
go
this
over.
weather now, will you struggle? Because obviously it's metal and stuff.
Not too much with my leg, and my ankle just tends to go over every now and again. But yeah, I also broke my hip in a different accident. So
Same
so that
side?
no different side.
Oh, good, right.
No, so back in 2016, I was involved in a motorcycle accident where someone pulled out on me as I was driving down the road,
Yeah.
and yeah, ended up quite bad. I was knocked out, and something had snapped off the bike and essentially gone straight through my hip. So the yeah, so it wasn't ideal. Um, so yeah, that was quite a bad one, to be honest. I mean, they told my mum and dad at the time. They told mum and dad at the time that he was bleeding but breathing, and he should come to the hospital as soon as possible. So my dad, being my dad, said, "All right, well, I'll just finish my tea." Finished his tea with my sister, and then went and got my mum, and yeah, came up. They tried to go down. It was just in Cronton here. They tried to go down the road, and my mum was like, "Of all the days I'm trying to get here, they've closed the road off."
Because
But
of your
it was for
accident.
me. Yeah, so to be honest, yeah, it was a bit of one, but I must say though, like massive thank you to the NHS for that. They took me into the major trauma unit in Aintree, and Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Like I got pushed in there. There must have been, I don't know, 10, 15 people all around me, like prodding and poking, took, everything off. They were looking for like, internal bleeding and bleeds in different places. There was CT scans. I don't know what they put you in to start off with, but there was this like,
Yeah.
it was like I don't know, a big plastic bag that sort of encompasses around you and pulls your whole body together. The comfiest thing I've ever been in. If I could get one for the bed
Yeah.
at night, take one straight away. But
Do you know
yeah,
what, mate? So I knew it. I didn't know the extent of this, by the way, but I knew it was serious. But did you realise how serious it was?
not
Oh,
really,
when
to be
did you
honest.
come round? Sorry, when because you were knocked out, you said. So when did you come round?
Yeah, so I came around on the road,
Okay.
so I could just feel like my hip was on fire. I still had my helmet
Yeah.
on and stuff. So the A&E guy, well, sorry, the paramedic at the time took my helmet off and was chatting to him, but they didn't want to move me or anything because they didn't know
Yeah.
what had gone on. So they put me on like a board that broke in half and then slotted it underneath my body straight into the ambulance. And yeah, the guy was, to be honest, a few more minutes. The guy was saying he was going to get the air ambulance because of the length of time that I was on the floor for. They were having issues. I don't know what the issues were at the time, but he was threatening on the phone that what they need at the time. But yeah, got me over there and it worked out, really well in the end. I probably woke up. Don't know. I don't know how long it was, to be perfectly honest. I was knocked out for. But
Enough to feel the pain in that.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. When they put me on that board, that was like pain I never felt before. I didn't have a so something had gone into my side, but then back out again, so it had gone straight through the bone. So that was yeah, pretty nasty gash at the time. Like so my hip was just bleeding quite badly at the time. So it was
Right.
luckily got me there in time and all was okay in the end. But that gives me shit now today for just moving
Yeah.
around and if you try to run or something, it's just really, really tight everywhere and hard to move.
Okay. So rugby wise, don't ever remember you really being injured, you know.
No, I always had niggles, but nothing
You
major. So
stuck
it
your
was
ankles up, didn't you? Like well
yeah,
before
yeah.
you broke your leg and ankle and that. You'd always strap your ankles up, didn't you?
Yeah, my ankles were bad just for like I don't know if it's
And
supinating or pronating,
thumbs
but
or
they went
wrists as well.
yeah, I got
Yeah.
tendonitis in both my wrists, so
Right.
and strapped them up, and it was okay after. But yeah, it was more just preventative on my wrist. But my ankles were, trying to keep my ankles in place. So I used to wear like a foot brace or just tape it up as tight as I could, just to stop them rolling in. I think with the uneven floor, where someone's previously stood, and then you're trying to run over it. If you go into any divot, it'd just go over on itself. So I used to do a lot
Yeah.
of drills for that. But no, I was really lucky. My shoulders have been okay. I've never seen some, the way some of the other lads went type thing with bigger injuries and issues there. So I was really lucky in that respect.
Because you were really like physical as well though. Like you didn't shy about your job. And that's what we were saying before. I think your technique was absolutely spot on.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. It was I never really gave it any thought, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just done what was ahead of me at the time. I don't know if that worked better in the long run or don't know, just the body I was given to start off with. But
Yeah, no, I
yeah,
think it did.
it worked out well.
So so the motorbike accident, mate, if you don't mind just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
going back to that. You've been on a bike since, don't you? Like you still do your Scotland tours with like Wildy, Riggers and that group of bloke, don't you, and stuff. Did it take long to get regarding your rehab, sorry, let's ignore the rehab a minute, but we will talk about it if that's all right. When you were fit enough, how long did it take to get back on the bike?
It was a good while, to be honest.
It
I
must have
was
been
really
like really daunting.
Yeah, so I think it was more so the way the crash happened. The person just said, "I didn't see you," and next minute they just, in the police report they just described it as the engine blew up on them, which was me just going into the side of the car essentially as they pulled straight out ahead of me. So yeah, they didn't see me, and that's more so what I was worried about for the future. How are people going to see me now versus in the future?
Then, yeah,
Um, so it's yeah, and I really enjoyed being on the bike. It gave me a really good sense of freedom, able to go where I want, see places I'd never seen before. Like the tours that you were mentioning, and the lads that I've been on them with are, fantastic. Um, but yeah, on the back of that, I decided to try and do like a advanced riding course. So started that path looking at how I can mitigate myself, and anticipate things happening. So there's a few things. There was the likes of there was a course called like Biker Down and Ride Safe and ROSPA that then I got involved in just to try to mitigate them, to be honest, and learn
Yeah.
learn about it, which really really helped.
Confidence builders as well, mate, to be back on it and
Oh,
like learning
massively,
how
yeah.
to lean again and all that type of thing, I imagine, wasn't it? And
Yeah, I mean on
trust in
the
the process.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, on the confidence side, I can remember sort of thinking to myself, I'm not going to let some person who doesn't have awareness sort of stop me having the fun that I wanted to, and how I can mitigate that and what I can do. Well, let's try to put them into action. So that's basically what I've done, and yeah, I've really enjoyed the ride since, and it took me a while to build back up again, and yeah, to get my head back into the right space. And then push forward. So that was probably the hardest part, to be honest, just getting my head right, getting my body right, and then being confident enough to get to jump on the bike and get out there.
What does the rehab involve, Tom? And was there any operation involved? Did you have the kids at this point and stuff? Did it hinder everything?
No, well, this was pre-kids, so I
Right.
was lucky in that respect.
Yeah.
But at the time, yeah, so they operated on my hip and
Yeah.
operated on my hip and fixed that. And then there was
How did they do that, mate? Do you remember?
to be honest, it was all like emergency surgery at the time. So
Right.
I was just room to room in terms of what was
Yeah.
going on. I can remember at one point, so I had like two drips in both my hands, and they were taking me to surgery, and they were pushing me down the corridor, and one of the drips got caught on a fire extinguisher. My heart went flying back. I was
That's horrible, that, isn't
absolutely
it?
stinging like mad. I was like, if I'm not in enough trouble already. And the guy went, oh, bloody hell, I've done that before. I'll keep your eye out for it and sort it out. They stay to this place. But
Oh, that's
no,
mad, that, isn't it?
they were great to us, to be honest. But yeah, between that and my sister's not very good with blood or anything. So she came to visit me. And yeah, obviously my whole body was up in all sorts with everything going on. And the woman walked in and she's like, "Oh, are you okay?" And my sister was nearly fainting at the time. She was having none of it. She hates the sight of blood. She was worse than me.
Do you know
I,
what though, mate? Like, because of how close she's all that, it must have been horrible for like Alice, Emma, and Sean. That.
yeah. I think my mum probably took it the hardest because after that phone call that my dad received saying like he's bleeding or breathing, she thought at that point I was dead, and that's where it got a bit scary because
It's
when
what
they
it
came.
implies, Tom, doesn't it?
Yeah, so well, when they
Yeah.
came into the hospital, they said they couldn't locate me. I guess because my surname's not the easiest to spell.
Right.
They couldn't locate me anywhere, so they put my mum and dad in the bereavement room. So my mum and dad were like, well, my mum was beside herself for obvious reasons. So yeah, that was probably scarier than the accident itself, to be honest, and the effect that that had
Imagine them just
on me.
wheeling you past and you like that as your mum and dad are
Arm caught.
yeah, and on the fire exit. No, it's scary, that, isn't it? And I
Yeah,
appreciate they probably your mum and dad probably needed a minute just to get together and compose ain't the right word, but try and
yeah.
like
Sort themselves.
process things. But
Yeah,
to
yeah,
put it
yeah.
like that ain't the type of room you need to see the title of when you've been told that, is it?
Yeah, I think that was probably the scariest part for them because they didn't know
Yeah,
what was going on and they just knew I was in the hospital, but they didn't know where and what had happened. So yeah, I think it was probably the unknown, which isn't good. So that probably it makes you rethink a lot as well. So it was a lot of
yeah,
life
yeah,
experience,
yeah,
unwanted,
yeah,
but it
yeah.
builds you up to where you're
But
at.
given, yeah. So what was the rehab, Tom? And where did it start? How long did it take before you could begin it and stuff like that?
So physically, it was just getting going. It was literally just learning to walk again. So, can you put one foot in front of the other, and go from there? That started when I was in the hospital. So they're really keen to get you out of the bed and moving. I think I was
Like
laid
them
down.
beam things, Tom. Sorry, is it like the
No, not at that stage. It wasn't.
yeah,
Because of where it was, they said I should be okay to like get up on the bed itself. But I can remember like sitting up on the bed for probably the first time in a couple of days, and obviously all the blood dust. rushed away. I was really lightheaded, really nauseous. But yeah, after that subsided, they needed me to get out of the bed and be able just to walk, say, to the toilet and back again. That was like what they wanted me to do. Um, and yeah, they gave me this pack of I had to inject myself in your stomach every day while
Like the clock
because like
busters.
I'm not sure what it was called, but it was like because I weren't moving, they were like, oh, you need to
Yeah,
take these. So I really didn't want to. I'm not a big fan of injecting myself
yeah,
at all. So I was like, yeah, let's not be doing that. So I was really keen just to get up and walk. So yeah, just I was trying to get up as often as I could and just a few steps, and it was just maybe 2 or 3 steps and build from there. So that took a
yeah.
while, but
So
managed
you're
to.
more than what you were doing though, mate. And
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was just laying in the bed otherwise. So yeah, got up and started to progress from there. To be honest, and that's what got me going. And then obviously I built from there. So just trying to get back into running again or back into just moving. To be honest, obviously it was I don't know how long it was. It was a couple of months though for just trying to get
it
back
felt
into.
like forever, didn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah, it was horrific.
Yeah,
Well, your life changes overnight, so I was gone
yeah,
from playing week in, week out to not able to play at all, um, and unsure what the repercussions would be. I think as like a complete change of that, there was um, like mental health issues, with just trying to keep myself going, and a lack of the world that you knew, 2 weeks earlier. So I was trying to sort myself out from both sides and just get to a point where you can physically be better and also mentally be better.
yeah,
So there was a lot of just trying to work things out and in a position that I'd never been in before, didn't know how to deal with it. Um,
yeah,
like I've always been like really logical, if you do this and do that, this is the result. But for some
yeah,
reason, I wasn't able to perform those like tasks. I just, lost all drive to get up and do things, and that sort of changed quite dramatically. So
yeah.
trying to affect those for positive was probably the biggest challenge over the physical injury, to be honest, and getting out and doing things.
Yeah, fair play. Thanks for being honest, mate, and talking about it. So, like, where did you turn? Because don't ever remember you coming to us as a group of friends with it, really. But we probably weren't too forward in coming forward with it either. Do you know what I mean? And we obviously stopped playing at the similar time then, mate, because it's been.
Yeah, your back was
We'll
bad as
talk
well.
about a little bit of a comeback in a
Yeah,
bit,
yeah,
but it's been what's that, 8 or 9 years? That 8 years.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, we've
Uh,
we're similar. So it's how did you cope with that, Tom? And did you go and get help anywhere? Did you bottle it, or how did you get through that?
yeah, so I think talking is, and you've got so many charities now who talk about the importance of talking between the lads, and I think setting up, things that I've learned is sort of setting up your network prior to an issue is probably better than trying to
Yeah,
sort it when you're not in a position to. But yeah, I had a really good support network around me. I had a really good family. Um, I didn't know which way to like I didn't know what to do, which way to turn, who to speak to, what to say. Um, but I think it was explained to me in terms of, if you broke your arm, there's no reason not to talk about a break in your arm. It should be similar for mental health. If you have an issue there, again, just talk about it. And obviously, even like us speaking now and anyone listening, it brings a lot of awareness to the issue and reduces any stigma. So I done something called CBT, which was cognitive behavior therapy,
yeah,
with, and I think I had about 6 sessions of that. But that's really where they sort of, I thought, it'd be a chaise lounge in the corner. You go lie on that and tell some man your problems, and then you walk out thinking, what the hell's going on? And he just turned out to be a dead down to earth person who talked at the right point, listened at the right point, and just give scientific reasons for what's going on in your head, why you're thinking the way you're thinking, why you're not, acting logically when you can do that. And it just rationalized it all for myself. I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then, we came up with okay, so if these things start happening, then we get to move on to doing, these other things, and we can put things in place to progress them. So yeah, that was a massive help, and I'd strongly recommend anybody, if they were struggling in any manner, to look at that. That was, yeah, really useful.
Yeah. And are they mechanisms you can still use now, Tom, if you'd ever get a little bit anxious, a bit nervy,
Yeah, 100%.
unsettled? Yeah,
100%. So yeah, at the time, I took photos or wrote down what we were talking about with, screenshots and
yeah,
slideshows, etc. And a lot of it was just, yeah, how your mind works, what you're thinking. There was a big thing that he introduced me to, which was like, they're called NATs and RATs. So one was rational autonomous thought. Sorry, no, rational thoughts, just where you're thinking normally, that logical step,
yeah.
I should go and do this. And then the other was something called like a NAT, so it was a negative autonomous thought, which was, something your mind might jump to when you don't anticipate it. So, maybe, I don't know, hunger's a good example, hunger will build up over a few hours. But if you walk past the kitchen and you're like, oh, I need a bag of crisps, it's like, it's not hunger, it's probably more, it's just, an automatic thought that you're right, okay, let's go do this now. And it's sort of just trying to realize when they start happening and then how to control them. So yeah, really useful.
Yeah. And how did you feel about not playing rugby again?
Um, I wasn't too sure on the whole thing, to be perfectly honest. It was that was my life up until that point. It was every weekend, twice a week, with everything in between. So yeah, it was just a big change, and being on the sideline is entirely different to playing with your mates, not just on the pitch but also off the pitch. So like the laugh that you have with the lads, the experiences, hey, you done this in the match or this happened, and yeah, that sort of bond that you have. That's what I sort of missed out on the most, and thought I was you don't feel as connected to the team as like you were previously. So yeah, that's certainly something that you just got to learn to manage and deal with. So that was just a part of it. Hence, yeah, a little comeback, or you never know, might still have a couple of games left in me. But yeah, came back for a few odd games, but I think the physical elements with some of the injuries carried, it's probably not going to happen again. In terms of, I've probably got a couple of games here and there, but yeah, that playing a season and my ankles wouldn't hack it, my hip wouldn't hack it. It'd be, yeah, too much. So
Do you
probably
think
gonna.
it took playing to realise that, Tom?
Oh yeah, it took me a long time,
Yeah,
and you keep on trying as well. You're like, okay, it might be bad now, it might get better. Let's just see. And I've had loads of games where let's just see, and yeah, then it doesn't work out, and you're like, okay, well, let's just see again. Yeah, that's a vicious cycle.
yeah. And did you have a job at this time, mate? Since when it was you?
Yeah, so this was yeah, so at this point I was over at Fujitsu in Warrington. So we were working, well, actually no, the time of the crash I was at um HP Hewlett Packard in also in Warrington, and then I moved back to Fujitsu just after it. So
I know.
yeah, I was just
How were they with
moving
you,
around.
mate?
They were really good, to be honest. Yeah, really understanding. They really helped when it was needed. Um, and yeah, I couldn't fault them, to be honest. It was learning on both sides for what to do and how to handle it. So yeah, it was good. I couldn't fault them.
Mate, so when the comeback come around,
Yeah,
what what was going through your head? Why did you come back and how did it go?
probably what we were speaking about, the just the not being in the same situation with the lads. You can be in the club the whole time they're in the club, but yeah, you just don't feel as connected to the team.
It's definitely not the same, Tom, is it? It's not.
No,
No matter
it's
how much people might try and that.
yeah, and people dead nice
Yeah,
to you. You'll chat to
yeah,
them, you'll have a good laugh, but I don't know. There's something about, I guess, the bond of playing that you lose out on, whatever
yeah.
that is and however that forms. But yeah, that's probably, I wanted that back, and I wanted to try and get back to that level. I've always enjoyed sport. I've always enjoyed playing. So not having that was like was just a big loss from my point of view. So just trying to see if I can rekindle it and get back to it. But yeah, that didn't happen as well as
Right.
I thought.
Yeah. But you've jumped back on the bike, mate. You do street bikes as well, don't you? Like push bike.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I've moved then into other elements, to be honest, so just other sports. I've recently started swimming, so that's going
Right.
intriguingly. I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see how that turns
In the
out.
pool or like the free one, the free stuff.
I've done both, to be honest, but
Yeah.
probably locally easier to go to the pool here.
Right.
But yeah, I've done a fair bit of outdoor swimming now, so just seeing how it all goes, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then might try and build up to an event. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what
Yeah.
holds, I
You just
reckon.
need that challenge, don't you, in some form, Tom?
I
Like
think
you
that's it.
need that end goal, don't you, mate?
Yeah, just some
Yeah.
competition to work to or something to push you
Yeah.
and keep you focused. Otherwise, yeah, you go a bit aimless. So having
Yeah.
that
And
really,
do you know the cold? Sorry, Tom. Do you know the cold water stuff you were doing? Did
yeah,
that help with the hip or the ankle or anything, or was it more for your mental state, or was it for camaraderie with people?
it was no, probably more the mental state that I found it helped with.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. So there was a guy called Wim Hof who's got like a program online and yeah, known as the Iceman. And I was just really intrigued. I thought they were all crazy. I didn't have a clue. And then I was at my wife's work one day and they had them there. So they were sort of like letting you jump in and try out cold water. I didn't really know what to expect, and I seen it more as a competition. To be honest, there was a target for who got the longest, so I thought, well, I'm beating that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I had to go, jumped in, and I felt great after doing it. So I was like, okay, well, let's see how this works. So then, yeah, started doing a bit of the cold water side just to just to see really. But I did find it helped.
And did Sarah and the kids see you come back, or did
I think they came to one or two games, but yeah, it's
how's that then, mate? Is that like a completely different mindset again?
yeah, 100%. I
Yeah.
mean, as a playing prior to kids and when they're not watching, your focus is only on the game, and I only have that focus. With them watching, I was still obviously it was like the two kids and Sarah, so one over in one direction, one over in the other, so you're always sort of half looking to see what's going on, or yeah, thinking you know, Sarah's more than capable of looking after the two of her own, but you're always in the back of your mind going, are they okay? What are they doing? Where are they at? And yeah, I think life just moves on, so it's a
And you were never malicious, mate, so you didn't have that side to your game anyway, did you? So it weren't like, oh, I can't be this
No, I
type of
was never
player
like
because
fighting
the
for that.
kids are there and that. Yeah, you were
Yeah, yeah.
you were just straight. Don't get me wrong, you played on that fine line, didn't you? But it was never malicious. It was just testing the rules more than
Yeah.
being
I think
nasty.
I always enjoyed it when it was on the line and there was, like it was an edgy game. That was probably where I had to focus the most, and yeah, I enjoyed that element of it. But no, it was never one just to start swinging and yeah, see where that led you. That wasn't I'd rather one of the things that I always realized from young going like moving forwards, the more times we've played in earlier stages of rugby or the lower teams, I think because the skill level wasn't as high, I always enjoyed the skill level being higher with the element of what's going on versus just essentially a brawl or something happening. That was never
Why stuff like this happens, Tom. So you were the smart one, mate.
unintentionally, not for you.
Yeah. So I imagine some of your best memories of your younger rugby days, mate, when it comes to your rugby side. So can you sum up your rugby journey so far, mate? What does your rugby story say? It was 3 words. What would you put it down to?
Three words is tight. I'd probably just say, yeah, big hits and steals. That's probably my
I
three
like
words
it
to go
because
with.
it's factual, mate. It's
It's what
factual.
and it's what I
It's
really
fact.
enjoyed.
Yeah, yeah. So, what does life look like now, and what are the future ambitions, mate? What are your next targets regarding the swimming, your biking, whatever you're doing? What's the future all?
I'm not too sure at the moment. I'm going to see how things pan out. There's a few things in the pipeline which I'm considering.
Yeah,
I just need to, yeah, see how things go, see how my body holds up, and then, yeah, might have a couple more games left in me still. Um, I might be looking at, yeah, doing some events coming up. So
yeah,
yeah, I'll know a bit more about them after the new year. Um,
yeah.
and then, yeah, crack on from there. To be honest, um,
Right, mate. I
keep
like it.
myself busy.
Some story, Tom. But yeah, you've been through it, mate, and yeah, in one way or another.
Yeah, it's certainly life experiences. I'll give it that.
So I've got a few daft questions for you now, dude.
So,
So, did you have any pre-match superstitions?
not really. I was never one for like, the big get-ups and doing something specific. The only thing I probably always did was just visualize that first hit, visualize sort of, getting down, bending my back, getting underneath the player and yeah, driving him backwards. That's something that I've done probably in the changes before every kickoff, just to myself.
Yeah.
If I'd done it, physically, I'd probably look like an idiot. But yeah, just something I'd always visualize and keep in my
If you do ever do it physically, just make sure it's not me, please.
head.
So, this next word makes different definition for everybody. But the toughest player you've played with and against. So you might not know who they are, but you might remember a shirt number or a club they played for.
Yeah, so there's been quite a few people who've been really physical over the years. I guess people who have played with is probably quite a few lads who have just never took a backward step. People like yourself, Taffy, Fieldsy, a few lads from uni like Ben Dawson and Dan Bedford, just lads who were always going forwards, never take a backward step, really crack on when you needed to, people you could rely on. But I think probably the toughest player I've played with was probably Paya, um, who came to the Wids playing number six, Payaliku. Just absolute machine of a man. Yeah, he was playing like he was still in his 20s, constantly get up, smashing people. I think he was playing with like a broken skull at one point or something. He was,
And
yeah,
his neck, wasn't it? Yeah,
yeah,
summer.
absolute machine. But yeah, just ridiculous. Fantastic guy all
Yeah,
around.
any
And then for playing against, there's a lad who I always remember when we played Birkenhead. He was playing number six at the time, quite a big lad, but he was just solid muscle. I remember hitting him like through the kitchen sink at him and everything, and just didn't move an inch. I had to like roll with him in a tackle. Um, Trying to get him down was yeah challenging. He just seemed to run through us and was really strong defensively. So I remember him particularly standing out as just just really tough, solid player.
they were good as well, weren't they, Burke and apart?
Oh yeah, absolutely solid.
Yeah,
Yeah, the whole team
yeah,
were, to be honest. But
they were. Because growing up, we never played them, did we? But
no, it's strange when we're so close. But yeah,
yeah,
it's just how everything falls.
right. The favourite away ground you've played at?
So I've got to say, I love trips over to the Isle of Man. That was always the highlight on any calendar when you've seen that group away. Well, just a weekend away with the lads, and yeah, everything on there. But no, for
We didn't lose
clubhouse,
there, did we? Did you play
no,
twice?
you
We
pinged it
didn't
from
lose, mate, did we?
the best kick I've ever seen from the sideline. Yeah, for
Yeah.
anyone watching, John was getting heckled like mad for being a prop kicking, and there was
Double
three
chins in
lads,
me big belly, yeah.
yeah, three lads giving him an absolute big one, and then he pinged
Yeah.
it from the sideline, and yeah, turned to them and had him off fully. It was one of the best kicks I've ever seen. The wind was howling, yeah, and that was the
It's
last
a
one
good
to win the
trick, though,
game.
isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely
it is a
amazing,
good trick.
absolutely amazing. But separately from there, I'd probably go with likes of Kirby Longsdale for just a place that you're playing against strong lads every time. You knew you were in for a hard game. It was a coach trip there and back though, so good laugh. You could have a few beers on the way back, and yeah, always had a fire on in the clubhouse with a really good atmosphere. They loved you being there, and it was just really welcoming, to be honest. What you look for in an away day, and the facilities were top notch. So yeah, probably go with the likes of there.
If you could go back and tell a younger Tom something, mate, what would it be?
Um, Probably just enjoy the moment, enjoy what you've got today, keep working hard, you'll get there. Um, I think sometimes you're too focused on what's going to be than enjoying what's going on at the time. So yeah, just probably just enjoy the journey and yeah, it'll
Yeah.
all work out.
Like we've had a few, Tom, whether it's in the Isle of Man or whether we're in Simmy's pub. The microphone's in your hand, mate. What you giving us?
Oh, that's a good one. I might go for a classic with a just Journey, Don't Stop Believing. It's always a good one for the Wids, or maybe a bit of a She's Electric by Oasis. So
I
we'll jump
like
between
it,
the
mate.
two depending on the crowd.
Yeah, no, I like it. If you're willing to, then, mate, a 1 to 15 that you've played with.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I could probably name about 50 lads to be honest in the 1 to 15, but I'll try and keep it down. So yeah, I still don't know the difference between a tight head and the other side. So for the props,
You
we'll
didn't have to, mate. Don't worry.
for the props, I'd probably go with Wildy or Juzzy on one side, both two
Yeah,
absolute units of lads, really strong, drive the team forwards regardless of what's going on. You know, just solid. For hooker, I'd probably go with Taffy.
yeah,
Again, just strong as they come, never took a backward step. You can really count on him to put you in the right places. For the other prop, I'd probably go with maybe Aldo, Si Alderson or Borgie.
yeah.
Um, yeah, strong as they come, the two of them. I've never seen Aldo. Yeah, the guy of his height, he jumps into every tackle to get a high tackle. It's fantastic, to be fair, to watch. But yeah, no, he's fantastic. Ball in hand or yeah, just pushing in a scrum, absolutely fantastic. Um, Second rows, so for the two of them, there was a few here that I was pulling between. To be honest, I've had some really good second rows over the years, but I'd probably knock it between the likes of Bomber, who I probably played the majority of rugby with,
Yeah.
and Mike Jones. But then there's also the likes of Chadders or Andy Griff, who was just an absolute demon in the line-out. He could win it from anywhere. And I appreciate him putting Mike Jones not in his position of choice, but you can stick with it for this one.
Yeah, that's his position. He'll
He'll
hate
be
us for that,
fuming.
won't he?
Okay, then moving on to flankers. Um, I'll probably keep myself at open side, but for blind
Yeah,
side, I it's a hard one on position to be fair, but I'd probably go with either Paya or yourself at six. Need to get you on the pitch just for your rugby brain. And to be fair, Paya's just an absolute animal, so you could never leave him
oh,
out.
yeah,
And then moving into the number eight, I mean, pivotal position. We had like Will Cox who absolutely run the show, senior Colts. But prior to that, Phil Harrison was one of the best rugby players I've ever seen. You could throw him into any position, absolute utility, great ball in hand, great on the ball. Yeah, fantastic lad, and similar for Critch as well. Um, Big lad, really imposing on the game, could really push on. So it'd be between those. Um, for nine was really tough. I probably spent the majority of my rugby at Colts with Gav, who really fast, quick on the ball. He could shift around, but Lammy as well. Like it's a second row's body in a nine. He was massive.
oh, he was like an extra back rower
Oh,
with us, weren't he?
fantastic! Yeah,
Yeah,
he could and he could really shift as well. He was quick. He knew every little trick in the book for like little niggles or little just getting the edge on people or just winding them up if nothing else. So yeah, probably go with him. Um, Standoffs, yeah, obviously massive pivotal position. Um, Leddy and Akko were absolutely fantastic at standoff and pushed over the years, being great for the club. But I'd probably go with Andy Mack as standoff. He's who I came through with when I first started playing. Phenomenal ball skills. He could he could absolutely launch a ball and spot gaps left, right, and centre. Um,
yeah,
no matter where you were on the pitch, he could pick you out if he needed to. So yeah, his handling was phenomenal. And again, massive lad. He could put a tackle in if he needed to. Although I think in his last years, he let me do the majority of the tackling for him, which he kept him going, but that's all good.
yeah.
I was happy with that side. Um, then, moving into the centres. Um, Scoey was always fantastic, absolutely ripping it up, great at shots. So I'd probably go with, Scoey or Phil. Phil again was massively underrated. I always thought he was fantastic player. You can always drop him in at 10. He was great there as well. Um, so yeah, probably between those. Um, for 12, I was really struggling between Welshie and Gaz Riley, two phenomenal players. You could drop them both in. Welshie, the hits that he put in were absolutely phenomenal. Gaz Riley could pick lines out anywhere. Similar, they're both really fantastic lads. You could interchange them if need be. So yeah. Um, on the wings, in no particular order, I think I'll drop in probably Smigger on one side, and well, actually no, go with keep Smigger in, but yeah, between him, Winner, and Anthony Ledbetter, three fantastic lads there, strong as anything, could really crack on. I mean, yeah, agility off Smigger was just ridiculous. Like his change of pace, yeah, kicking skills, unbelievable. The amount of times where your head was in a mall, you look up and he's smashed it downfield, and you're like, okay, I just get a breather for 30 seconds. Was absolute gold. And then at 15, yeah, I've had to go with Andy Riley there. Just
Yeah.
on and off the training pitch, he'd run the legs off me every training session. Absolutely fantastic. Could never get near him. And on the pitch, just what a player. Hands, feet, tackling. Yeah, absolute machine of a lad. He could do absolutely anything. So yeah, fantastic. Number 15, out and out. So yeah, that's my 1 to 15, John.